Hey, you, and welcome to the podcast. So, I just got done coaching with a client, and something profound happened. I could see what she was believing, what she was struggling with, and where the Lord would have me guide her so that she could get unstuck because she was exhausted, right? She was doing all the things. And you know what's exhausting? And what's exhausting is living in a cycle where you keep saying that you're going to change, right? Because this was my client. Living in a cycle where you keep saying you're going to change and then watching yourself do the exact same thing, right? Where you tell things to yourself, you say things to yourself. And this is what I love about coaching, because a lot of times women will say what they're thinking. And the minute they'll say that to me, I'm like, do you see what you're believing here? And it's just so powerful. And this particular client gave me permission here, so I'm not betraying her trust or confidence in any way. But when you're living in a cycle where you keep saying you're going to change, and then you keep watching yourself do the exact same thing like this, you will say things to yourself like, this time it's going to be different. Or, you know what, right now I'm totally being serious. Or you'll be a little bit more casual. And you'll say things like, I know what to do. But then the moment comes, right? And you go out to lunch with your friends. After church, you go out, whatever it is. You go out to lunch, or you're exhausted, or you're overwhelmed after having that week at work, or your kids, or your husband, or whatever. And then suddenly you don't even see the thought that slips in. And you'll have the thought, like so many of my clients do, this doesn't really matter. I'll do better later. And then you agree with that and you don't even see it. And that gives way, like it becomes an open door to later on turning into the same cycle. And if you're being honest, it starts to chip away at your self-trust, at your trust in yourself. You stop trusting that that you do know what to do, or that you will make better choices. And let me tell you something that, I don't know, it could be the very thing that's going to awaken you. It might be the very thing that you need to hear in this moment, because it's the thing that might shift everything for you. If you feel like you cannot trust yourself, it's because you are trusting yourself. And guess what? That's the problem. That's the problem. Because the weight loss journey that you're on, what you need to do to actually lose the weight loss is not a knowledge issue. Because let's face it, you already know what to do, don't you? You don't need to subscribe to a different meal plan service or whatever. You don't need a different diet. You don't need to go binge 40 more of my podcast or somebody's YouTube videos to understand autophagy. You don't need more information. Here's what you need. And you're probably going to think, this doesn't feel like it's really what I need. But I'm speaking to you as somebody who's living in this. What you need is wisdom. And wisdom doesn't begin until something very specific happens, right? Proverbs 9 and 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And I want you to listen to this. This is where most women are missing it, because the fear of the Lord is not being afraid of God, right? You probably already know that. It is a posture of surrender. It is a surrendered posture that says, Lord, your way is higher than mine, even when I don't understand it. That's the right posture. That's like the right positioning where you can come under his power and authority. And why this matters for your weight loss journey is because right now, if you are stuck anywhere, whether it's the snacking, the still drinking, the cheating, wondering why you can't lose weight despite the fact that there are things that you're not doing that you know you should do. If you are stuck, it's not because you don't know what to do. It's because you are still the authority in your life. And you know what? Let me say that again. If you are not stuck because you lack the knowledge for weight loss. You are stuck because you are still leading yourself. And you can spot this instantly if these are some of the thoughts that you have. If you keep allowing yourself to think thoughts like, I know what I should do, but I don't feel like it. Or I've had a bad day, or but my husband brought this home, or but I only get to see her at Easter dinner or at Thanksgiving, whatever it is, or I'll start again tomorrow, or this little bite won't matter, it will. Because these thoughts aren't just struggles. This is how you are governing yourself. And that is where, I don't know, I guess I need to be bold here and just say this. That is you sitting on the throne of your life, deciding what is right based upon how you feel. And as long as that is true, as long as you allow that to remain true, you will always choose comfort over your transformation. And I want you to see this. I don't know, I'm constantly reframing things in people's eyes, so I feel like I need to frame this for you. I want you to see this clearly. Without fear of the Lord, yourself becomes your authority. And your truth gets filtered through all of that. And you're not operating in wisdom. And you're perpetually wandering in the wilderness. You're struggling. You can't see what sometimes it takes a Christian life coach to see. And you're stuck. Right? And this is why I know the Lord said to me, Sherry, break them up from their relationship with self-help and motivation and inspiration. Now, when you live that way, needing to feel like doing things, trusting in your circumstances, giving way to every thought that you can think just because you can think it, no fear of the Lord gives way for yourself to be the authority. And then your truth is all filtered through that, and you're not experiencing the wisdom that you need in order to be made stronger on this weight loss journey, to have the outcome that you and God both want. And when you live this way, what happens is you start to, like, you have all of this weight loss wisdom, this diet knowledge. And you take all the knowledge that you have and you filter it through your emotions. You filter it through your circumstances. You start filtering it through your circumstances, your preferences. And then your knowledge will always bow down to your feeling, which means you will continue to know what to do and still not do it. And so I want to reframe this for you. Because when a woman begins to walk in the fear of the Lord, she stops asking herself, what do I want to do right now? And she starts asking more profound, powerful questions. She walks into Applebee's where she's meeting her best friend, or Longhorn Steakhouse, or I can't even think of all the restaurants that are there anymore, and she asks, despite there being all of the choices and what her friends or what you guys normally eat there, she asks herself in the spirit, what is right in the eyes of the Lord, in the eyes of God? That one shift can change everything for you. Because then you are reframing things in your life. You have a fear of the Lord, a reverential, holy, loving fear of the Lord where God is the authority and where you can receive truth and where walking in wisdom, even in weight loss, begins to open up and be made available to you. Because you don't create wisdom, you receive it. Right? Just like Solomon, you receive it. And you cannot receive and walk it out. You can't receive what you don't trust. So when you finally come to the place where you say, you have like an awakening that my way is not producing life, and you start to surrender your will, something powerful begins to happen. You become the version of yourself that you already have permission to be, and you stop negotiating with temptation and old patterns and old thoughts, and you stop delaying who you can be. You stop justifying wrong thoughts, wrong choices, and you start giving way to a new voice inside of you. You start saying things to yourself like, you know what? If God said it, that settles it. Even if it cost me my comfort in this moment, I trust him. I trust God. Or you start believing, like, this is rising up, being spiritually bossy. My feelings are not my authority. And that's the posture you need to have if you want to transform. Because this kind of posture unlocks something that you've been missing. That comes with discernment. And that is clarity. That is discernment. That is seeing the right decisions despite all of the options. And that's where real transformation begins, because the fear of the Lord is not just the beginning of wisdom. It is the depth of your self-reliance. And wisdom is the thing that wisdom lives on the other side of that death. So this is why you've probably been feeling stuck, because you've been trying to change in your own strength, allowing yourself to be the one who's in charge. You've been trying to transform your life without surrendering your will. And it just doesn't work like that, right? Because there in your life, on this weight loss journey, there is going to come a moment where you have to stop doing what you will to do. Do you get that? And when you stop doing what you will to do, you do that so that God's will can be done in your life. You ask yourself Christian life coaching questions. Whose will am I operating in right now? Am I operating in what I feel? Lord, what would it look like for me to operate in wisdom right now? And this is completely what happened to me. Happened for me, I should say. I had to come face to face with the truth that I wasn't just struggling on my weight loss journey. I was leading myself. I was saying things like, yeah, I know that I shouldn't have the creme brulee, but it's our anniversary. I'll do better tomorrow or next week or whatever. But that was me on the throne of my life. Can you see that? And everything changed when I became willing to say no to myself, so that I could trust that God was leading me into a stronger version of me. And this is where so many women are stuck. They're waiting to feel ready. They're waiting to feel motivated, to feel inspired, to perpetually show up, to have perseverance, to endure, to stay aligned with what they know they should be doing in this season and detached from aligning with what they feel like doing in every moment. Because wisdom is going to require something different. Wisdom requires yielding before understanding, because you're going to start stepping out in who you are in Christ, and it's going to feel confusing. But as you pursue wisdom on your weight loss journey, it's going to require that you yield to the still small voice that you're already hearing, that's guiding you right now, but you're just not practicing yielding. You don't need to understand everything. Just practice living, pursuing wisdom, practicing yielding. And that looks like, it means that like you move and you do what you should before it makes sense. Why do I have to eat this? Why do they get to eat it, right? And you obey, doing what you know you should do, what the Lord says he will strengthen you to do, before it ever feels natural. In fact, it's going to feel very unnatural and very hard at first. But then, little by little, as you practice living this way, over time, something begins to shift, because wisdom starts shaping your thoughts. And then your discernment becomes sharp. And then your decisions become clear. And the very thing that you once struggled with, it starts falling away. You don't struggle with it. Doing the right thing becomes natural. This is discipleship, and this is why the Seeker's Method. It's why it matters so much, because walking in weight loss wisdom isn't just a one-time decision. It is a process. It is the training. It is you learning how to come off of the throne in your life, how to and where to specifically renew your mind, and how to walk in alignment with absolute truth every single day, even when your flesh is trying to boss you around. And I'm going to just say this directly. If you're listening right now, whether you are brand new in the Seeker's Method, or maybe you're already in it, and maybe it's about to end, and you're still feeling unstable, know this: we're going to start another round. And every time we do another round of the Seeker's Method, every single time it's different, because the Lord is making me stronger. And I can't help but to desire to teach what it is that he's sharing with me for you. He keeps revealing new layers, new truth, and new refinement. But if you're somebody who's sitting there thinking, I'll join next time, or I'm going to wait until I feel more ready, or it's a better season, this season is hard because, no, you are doing the very thing that is keeping you stuck. You don't need to wait. You need to begin. You need to start renewing your mind now. You need to start practicing all of this now, because wisdom is not something that you just accidentally walk into, okay? It requires a new level of intentionality. It is something you seek. It is something you walk in. And the woman who becomes the version of herself who loses the weight is not the woman who just collected all of the information about dieting, the woman who knew the most. No, it is the woman who surrendered the most. Right? The fear of the Lord is what makes you willing to be wrong so that God can be right. And that is where transformation begins on your weight loss journey. So if you're ready to step into this process and stop leading yourself once again, you can join the Seeker's Method right now and begin your mind renewal immediately. There are details about like links and all of those things somewhere around this episode or in the show notes. I hope this blessed you. Have a good day.